Hmm. Hi, good morning. I'm standing under a tulip poplar tree. This is a tulip poplar tree that walked me through an incredibly difficult season of my life. It acted as a guide and a counselor and a grandmother and an elder and a companion and a way shower. And so this morning, unexpectedly, I find myself under her again. And she gifted me with a bloom. Let me see. Can you see? How does this work? Oh, there. Yeah. There's lots of pictures and videos of that bloom in my stories. And it's going to end up in my post. And then there's the sun. But I got on because, hey Lance, the medicine that's coming through, I thought I could put it in a podcast. I thought I could type it in a post. But I thought, look how much better to catch it with the light. And with Tulip Poplar here beside of me. Oh, and something just landed in the branches above us. So the medicine that's coming through this morning about Tulip Poplar is that Tulip Poplar is for those who feel that they have been thrown out of the garden, for those that have been exiled from the garden, whatever that means for you. And for me, with my background in the Christian church, to be cast out of Eden, to be cast out of the garden, is characterized as the fall. Like that's the moment where there's separation between God and men, between God and humans, between God and Adam and Eve, when there's a disruption in the communion, in the intimacy. That's how it's described in the Bible. So Tulip Poplar is telling me this morning that it's a tree for those who feel that they want to return to the garden. I'm just laughing at this because this is a phrase that I have used so much in my life. I used it before I met this tree, this particular tree, before I even met Tulip Poplar. I would say, I want to return to Eden. Let's return to the garden. That's what I would say. And so this morning, years and years after the first time that phrase came into my mind, let's look at the flower again. It's telling me this morning that it's for those who feel that they want to return to the garden, for those that feel that they have been kicked out of the garden. And maybe it's happened, really, literally. Maybe you've been kicked out of the garden. Let me show you. Can you see? Let's see. Do you see the pool there? You see that pool? Mm-hmm. That pool is where my garden used to be. Mm-hmm. So, Tulip Poplar is for those who want to return to the garden. Tulip Poplar is for those who feel that they've been driven out of the garden. Tulip Poplar is for those who feel that there's been a severing or a separation somehow between them and the divine, their divine nature, that there's been a disruption in communion. Tulip Poplar is for those who long for the communion that was there in the garden. Tulip Poplar is for those who desire to, as it says, walk with God in the cool of the evening, in the cool of the day. Tulip Poplar is for those who prefer to be in the garden, naked and unashamed, to have a desire to return to innocence. Let's look at our flower again. Let's see, how do we do this? There we go. Aww. So it's been a little sad for me to be here. I've been crying And I thought, oh, it's perfect. Everyone's supposed to have the live IG where you cry, right? So I've been crying, but just so much joy, like with the medicine that this tree shares, and just with the medicine of the return to the garden, because part of the story that the Christian scriptures teach is of a fall, but then it teaches of a redemption and then a resurrection, and it teaches of the lesson of the first Adam, as it puts it, being removed from the garden, but then it teaches what the return of the second Adam, which is Christ and a new earth. So not just one place, Eden, that's paradise with the first Adam, but with the second Adam, with the coming of Christ, there is a new earth, all things made new. Oh, sorry, we've got a little notification. Maybe that's like my phone saying amen. So I think that the tree today has given, such lovely medicine of the story of what it means to be human. The story of what it means to be human, to commune with God, to commune with the divine, and then to experience somehow a moment, an event, something that happens where then we feel separated from God, separated from the divine. Let's look at the sun. And we feel cast out of the garden. And then the story of the redemption and the story of resurrection and the story of the second coming of Christ and all things made new, a new heaven and a new earth. Isn't that just so lovely? Part of the medicine of this tree that I haven't shared very much of up to this point is what it talks to me about regarding origins. It's told me like it is an origin tree. So I talk about it as a parent tree, but it wanted to take me, thanks for putting up with my shaky hands, it wanted to take me further back and say, no, let's go farther back to your origin stories. So it's so wild, because then it wants to talk to me specifically about, in my tradition, the one I was raised in, that particular origin story. Oh, and I'm just thinking too about how it told me to tell our stories, and then I thought it was their story, like the story of the tree, but then it communicated to me over many years, no, our story, the story of the tree, is your story. It's our story. And so what I started to understand was that to talk about Tulip Poplar is to talk about me, and to talk about the story of Tulip Poplar is to talk about the story of humanity, of humans. Oh, it's all so very beautiful. Hi, Amber. Oh, this is so good. I love this tree. Let's just look at it. Oh, look at the orb. I love it. Oh. And one more glance at the flower, and then you guys will get a break from my shaky hands. And I'm definitely going to put this up on YouTube because this is good medicine. And I will have to say there is redemption, because here I am at this place that I was removed from, that I was kicked out of, and I'm receiving this medicine and enjoying this plant. I even gathered some cleavers, and they smell so good. Look how the light shines on them. Wow. Oh yeah, so let's just do that. Let's just hope in the promise of a resurrection, right? And all things made new. Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks for putting up with the shaking. Such good medicine. Bye-bye.